when my grandfather was dying. For months, I had been so consumed with grief and worry over his failing health that when he was actually lying in his hospice bed, his breaths low and raspy, the air filled with strange, acrid scents, something in me released. All those months of trying to keep him alive, of holding out hope that he might suddenly spring up and walk out of the hospital, vibrant, spirited, whole, were over. As I sat next to his bedside, talking to my children, eating the casseroles people brought, grading student papers while he oscillated in and out of consciousness, I had thought, maybe, just maybe, I can get through this. During the Great Recession, millions of Americans lost their jobs, and millions of families lost their homes. So David and I were hardly alone in our circumstances. The greatest financial calamity since the Great Depression, the recession had struck rural Appalachia particularly hard. Here, many of us remained only 1 or 2 generations removed from the sort of hand-to-mouth existence our forebears had experienced. Though the recession officially lasted less than 2 years, the ramifications continued long after that time. Jobs were scarce. Unemployment and underemployment were rampant, and real estate sales were virtually non-existent. 3 years after the official end of the recession, the year our home was foreclosed, foreclosure notices continued to splatter the local newspaper. Somehow, though, knowing we were not alone did not make our situation any easier. Instead, the thought of all those empty homes, all those lives interrupted, compounded my loss, filled me with a greater sadness, the sum of all those broken parts. Inside the cabin, I opened the envelope from the attorney. The papers outlined everything I already knew, skipping a few of the more salient points, such as how irresponsible and short-sighted we were for entering into a contract where our friends, Jeff and Denise, had owner-financed our home. Our kids, their daughter and son, and our 3 children had grown up together. Their daughter Jacqueline and our older son Aaron had been particularly close. They met in kindergarten, back when Jeff and Denise still lived in the house we would later buy, and they had been good friends for the past 15 years. 3/4 of their lives. Denise and I became friends, too, in the way people do when their lives necessarily intersect, in that it takes a village sort of way people in small towns raise their kids. We emailed regularly, lunched sometimes, occasionally spent weekends with all of our kids at their summer cottage in nearby Montreat. Together, Denise and I worried about Jacqueline's difficulty reading, my younger son's attention issues, our older children's crowd of friends. We shared carpool duties and recipes and jokes about the more eccentric members of the Episcopal Church we both attended. We baked each other Christmas cookies and exchanged gifts. Our families celebrated special events together at their new home, a rambling circular house in a gated golfing community. We consoled each other when the young daughter of a mutual friend died of brain cancer, and again when our kid's 15-year-old classmate fatally shot himself in the face. When David and I bought Jeff and Denise's house, the arrangement had seemed ideal. The Cape Cod-style house looked out over wide pastures and expansive cornfields. The 2-acre property had at one time been an apple orchard, and from our front porch we could look over the cabins and trailers and farmhouse and see where the fields ended and DuPont Forest began, dense woods of pines and hardwoods. The setting was rural, quiet, ideal for us, our 3 children, and our dogs, who were disturbing our next-door neighbor in town. Jeff and Denise built the house themselves, and it had already been on the market for a couple of years when we looked at it. One factor making the house hard to sell was that the water pipes were made of polybutylene, a type of material known to corrode. We knew this might pose a potential problem for us down the road, but at the time we were ready for a change and willing to take the risk. We would deal with the pipes later, we said, if a problem occurred. After we moved in, however, we soon realized the house had other issues. The upstairs bath leaked through the ceiling onto the kitchen.